have on the back.
What's going on, beautiful people? I am the Grandmaster, and I also go by D-Ray, bringing you guys the next episode of the Grandmaster's Table, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Summer. Go to say hi.
Hi.
Guys, today is going to be a very special episode. I know that I say that a lot, but the reason why I say that this time is because we have someone that is extremely committed, because my man is across the pond, and it's really early for him. It's late for us, but it's more impressive to get up in the morning versus stay up super late. So I really do appreciate it. And he is a phenom in the draft league community. This man just spews out knowledge for days, and people come to him all the time. So I'm very excited to bring him to you in this light. So please welcome Dr. Slacking.
Good morning, guys. That's the nicest anyone's ever been about me, so I'm happy now. It was worth getting up in the morning just for that. Yeah, it's very early here, so if I sound kind of sleepy or whatever, I do apologize, but I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
And we're excited to have you guys. If you guys are new here, do us a massive favor, show your support by hitting the like button, and if you're new, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, hit the bell button so you guys get notified every single time we post a new video. Now, let's just hop right on into it. It's early for you, man, so it's late for us. How's things going? I know you're just opening up the eyeballs, but how you doing today? Today's Tuesday for you and Monday night for us, which is such a trip. What's such a trip? Where exactly do you live?
So I live out in the rural kind of sticks in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of England. So right in the kind of farming heartland of the country. It's beautiful out here though. So it should be another sunny day today. It'll be nice in the countryside. I'm looking forward to it. The nearest city for people that know England to me is probably Nottingham or Lincoln, but that probably won't mean too much to people over in America.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Nowhere near London. That's the big one. Nowhere near London.
Yeah.
I know that my following, for the most part, is here in the United States. So the fact that we have such an accent difference is quite the culture shock.
I feel smarter talking.
I know. I just feel. I don't know if you get this often, but I just feel like so much more sophisticated just by having a conversation with you. Do you get that often?
And not so much anymore. Once people get to know me, they realize it's all a deception.
That's funny. You mentioned right before we started recording that you have a lot of friends that are going to be listening to the podcast. Is there anything that you want to say to them moving forward that before we get started that you're like, okay, this is going to be don't judge me, or it's about to be real, that kind of thing?
If people aren't familiar with me, people that watch your channel and things that maybe don't know me, a lot of my friends are going to want to troll me with some of the questions and stuff. So there might be some kind of confusing in jokes. I'll do my best to explain anything. But there's going to be a lot of troll questions probably.
It's pretty common though. A lot of
it happens
like
a lot.
Troll
100%, especially for us, the quote unquote goons. Like you know very well, Mr. Mid-Poke Master. You guys are pretty close, right? The son and father relationship that you guys have in the GL.
Yeah, exactly. That's my son. Yeah.
Mid's a youngin'. So I want to get into you and YouTube. How long have you been on the platform?
Oh man, it goes so fast. Nearly 3 years now, which blew my mind. I looked at this the other day. It feels like a year or something, but yeah, nearly 3 years now. I never had been kind of involved in YouTube prior to starting this channel, so it's all kind of documented. It's all there. I've never deleted any videos or anything, but yeah, been about 3 years, and I've loved every minute of it.
Awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. That's actually not that. That's you're relatively young in the scene, because I've heard for the most part we've had a lot of guests that have been on here for like 5, 6, 7 years since the platform actually got going, before couldn't even be monetized.
Yeah.
So the fact that you've only been around for 3 years, and the fact that you've had such a following right now from where you sit right now is pretty impressive.
I've been very lucky, very, very lucky that for some reason people watch my ramblings. So yeah, I'm very appreciative.
But it's very entertaining. You obviously are very knowledgeable in the Draft League format. When did you get yourself started in the Draft League format?
So it was one of the reasons I really started YouTube was I thought draft leagues looked awesome. I had no idea how you participated unless you were in something like the GBA or the WBE, right? These are the only visible draft leagues. So One of my motivations for starting a channel was wanting to participate. But I was doing Let's Plays at the beginning. I was doing like Nuzlocke and stuff. And a guy that I was doing that with, he invited me to play in a little Draft League tournament. And that was it. Once I got into that, I started making friends with a bunch of people in the community, and it just spiraled from there. I couldn't stop. The addiction began.
That's funny. That's good though. When we basically got you going here, and you are in the very thick, the middle, we'll say, of the GDL, right? So that's one of the leagues that we're sharing in together. So the GDL, I know it's funny that the reason I want to bring this up is because you made it very clear to your following that you wanted to have fun with the league. That it was something that it was just going to be like a gag. I'm just going to prep and not really mock as much as often as you would with a different draft league that you have, because you're representing yourself with the Lake District Spirits, right? And then now you have another draft league that you have Can you pronounce that name for me? Because I know I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah, the Boland Bovines, but I'm replacing it with an easier to pronounce name soon, yet to be unveiled. So look forward to that new team name coming soon.
Now I've got the jitters of wanting the anxious feeling of anticipation to get that going. But you made it very clear that you wanted to have fun with this league, and it's turned out really, really well for you. So you're having fun, and it's turned into something that you are undefeated right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, 4-0. Yeah, I mean, it's just I think you probably feel this a bit when you've been putting so much time into draft league, so much prep, lots of mocks and stuff, and then sometimes things don't go your way. You might have some poor RNG, or you might have just drafted a bad team. It can feel super low when you've put in 10 hours that week and you end up losing to a crit or something, right? It can feel really, really low. So I think it's important for players that are playing at kind of these high pressure games, because whilst it is our little community, it still can feel quite high pressure when you have 100 or so people watching your games, right? If we were playing sports in real life with that many people watching, we'd feel under pressure. So I think sometimes it's important to give yourself a break and allow yourself to just unwind, be more casual, interact with people on a more friendly basis, and just enjoy the game and not forget why we play it in the first place, right?
Yes, 100%. And with that being said, would you say that you don't feel that pressure of putting something that was, let's just say that for example, the way you approached the EWT, right, which is this draft league that just finished not too long ago, would you feel as though you're bringing yourself to the GDL in a light that's a little bit more casual, thus it's leading to you playing a little bit better, and meaning you being undefeated? Because I'm sure that the rest of the league is taking this like gung-ho, right? And then you're coming in and bringing it to like, especially me in specific, right? And so you're bringing it to more of light. Would you say that contributes to you playing so well?
Yeah, 100%. One of my biggest weaknesses in draft league as a player is handling pressure. So like my regular season records tend to be very good, but I've got a long history of choking playoff games, and it's a bit of a meme. But I think that comes largely from how you handle those pressures. I talk about it a lot. We all think that the key to being a good and successful draft league player is just clicking the right button at the right time. But a lot of that comes down to mindset, mentality, how you handle certain pressures and expectations and stuff. So by me saying at the outset of this season to the viewers, hey, this is going to be a more relaxed season, please don't expect too much, not only does that maybe set their expectations for what kind of content to expect, but it allows me to not feel the pressure in their games. It allows me to just click freely, think freely, without worrying like, I'm going to lose subs if I don't win this game. Am I going to lose friends if I don't win this game? So it sets out clear kind of boundaries for me and them in a way that allows us both to relax and just enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, it does. And we feel the light energy from that, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking to you about yesterday, is like, I feel like when you take it more casually, when you're having more fun with it and not taking it as seriously, like, yeah, it's good to, you want to win, but when you are just having fun with it, I feel like you do much better. Like, you do better in your showdown leagues because you're more casual with it, where it just like when you put the pressure on yourself, you see it in your play.
She was referencing to, I have, for those who don't know, I play a lot of draft league games and draft leagues in general, just undercover, just not on YouTube. And for whatever reason, like, I'll beat players that isn't on YouTube, and they'll smoke me on YouTube, but I'll beat them like in the Showdown leagues. Ultra Player is a good example. I just finished beating him in Nancy P Showdown League, and we're about to play this week in the GDL. And he's all telling me, he's like, "Yeah, it's time for revenge." I was like, "Bro, we're in the spotlight, so I have to try to." It's reverse, dude. I'm trying to beat you in the spotlight. So there's that added pressure, like you spoke about. It's just being able to take a situation that could be pretty heavy, but being really light and be more relaxed, and thus it gets you to perform a little bit better in some situations.
Yeah, like I think if you watch, I know I went back and watched some of my old games. You'll probably find it if you watch yours, but you'll definitely, if you watch other content creators, you'll see it. There's so many instances where a player on YouTube, especially in live commentary, will know the correct play. They'll say like, "Oh, I should make this call here. Like they're going to switch into this. I should make the read." And they'll just then kind of chicken out. They'll be like, "No, I'll make the safe play." And it's like, well, if had on turn 6 you made that prediction that you might have made on Showdown when you're more relaxed, you'd have taken their key Pokemon from them, you'd have won this game. But because you were on YouTube and you felt like people were watching, you didn't necessarily hold your nerve to go ahead and make the plays. And I think that makes a big difference. I think it's why people like Pokegame, Chimpact, Wolf Glick, these people are very good at kind of live Wi-Fi Draft League content, because they play so much Pokemon at so much higher stakes than our little YouTube draft leagues that to them this probably doesn't feel that significant. If you're Wolf Glick and you've won a world championship, well, hey, look, playing Dr. Slagging in a draft league is not that big of a deal. So they're able to play with that freedom that comes from not being too worried about every minute detail.
Exactly.
It just shows like the stress that you can put on yourself sometimes, and just taking that moment to just take a breath and be more light with it, and just being better in the long run. So for those of you who take a little bit too much, pressure on yourself doing draft leagues, just take that with a grain of salt. Take that with you and move forward, and you may see things turn around. Now, for you and being a Pokemon fan, when did you actually dip into the franchise? When did you first discover it and think, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool"?
Oh, so I'm relatively old. For those that don't know, 1994 I was born. So I was born around the time everything was kicking off. Pokemon Fever was kind of at its peak. And back then, my older stepbrother, he had an original Game Boy, the black and white, very first, like you had to put proper batteries in it and stuff, Game Boy. And he had Pokemon Red. He was terrible at the game. He was a lot older than me, but he was still terrible. He literally just got to Brock and then didn't know how to beat Brock. So had a Charizard by Brock, and that was it. He just kept beating all these level 2 Pidgeys down over and over. But I was like, okay, I want to get my own thing. So eventually I got Blue and got myself a Squirtle. And from there, I was like, all right, I'm going to be different to my brother. Right? He's got Red, he's got the Charizard. I'm going to have the Squirtle and the Blastoise on Blue. And then I got a deck of Pokemon cards. And it was really just through those kind of little things being bought Christmases and birthdays around that time. Like any time I was being bought presents, I was just asking for everything Pokemon. And yeah, that was it. The fever just started. People at school were into it back then as well. It was very popular, very fashionable for a little while. So the anime, all that good stuff. Yeah, really, really kind of the OG stuff. The first generation of everything, pretty much. And I just loved it. I was terrible at it. I couldn't play the game at all back then. But yeah, it started a lifelong love for the franchise, really.
The good old days when you had to play with the batteries, the AA batteries, instead of having to charge with the good old Game Boy Colors and the big thick Game Boys. Those are the good old days. You're a Cantonian, so you've been around since the beginning. Yeah, I feel old, but it feels good to have been to every generation. I took a little break around Generation 5 coming out. Like I went to university around that time and stuff, and or not too long after that. And I don't know, it just it wasn't the done thing around that age to play Pokemon and stuff. And Black and White confused me a bit. But then by the time I actually got to university, I realized like I don't really care what's cool or what's popular or what's whatever. Like I felt pretty free once I'd left school to do what I wanted. So I ended up buying X and Y, and eventually got back into the franchise around Oras properly, because Gen 3 was my favorite gen. So when Oras came out, I was like, yes, here we go, I'm back. I'm playing this properly again. That's crazy. So you and I actually have similar stories, and when we were fans of the franchise, kind of played it every now and then until we grow a little bit older, because I too also just was a fan just to play casually. and then I kind of dipped back into competitive right when X and Y came out. But I didn't do it in Draft League. I did it in the VGC scene. So it still was the same, where X and Y kind of sparked that new like want to get into something competitive. And so that's crazy. So you and I kind of have that parallel mindset coming back into competitive Pokemon. Now, being that you and I kind of have that parallel mindset, I'm really curious if you were to say, if you had one favorite Pokemon, and it doesn't have to be just purely off of aesthetics, it doesn't have to be something that's necessarily good to you in Draft League. If you were to say you get one Pokemon to name your absolute favorite of all time, what Pokemon would that be?
Easy. Swampert is my favorite Pokemon. I love Mudkip and Swampert. It goes back and forth between those two. But generally, I say Swampert is my absolute favorite Pokemon. It was my first sort of starter Pokemon that I managed to beat an Elite Four in a game with, because although playing from Gen 1, I wasn't good. So it took till Gen 3 for me to be old enough to understand how to beat the game. And yeah, that was on Sapphire with my Swampert, and I absolutely loved it. So that's my favorite Pokemon.
Look at the poetic justice of you running a rain team during the GDL, and then you have the ultimate rain sweeper mega Pokemon that no longer is around, but it's still there. That's crazy. That just came full circle. That's cool. That actually doesn't surprise me. Mudkip is a very popular Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, very.
And Mr. Swole Patrol being your favorite it's a cool looking Pokemon.
Yeah.
Would you just say that it's just because it's kind of stuck around for like how long? Basically as long as you've been a fan. It just kind of sticks around with it.
I think it's that nostalgia of like, I just put so many hours into Gen 3. That was always my starter of choice. Like, whoa, that's not true. When I first got the game, I thought Trico looked dope, so I picked Trico. But by the time I got to see all the final evolutions, because of course back then, though I didn't know about YouTube, I don't know if it existed even. But certainly I didn't see any game guides, didn't see anything like that. So like, you would play with your team, and by that point it wasn't cool at school and stuff, so it took until I found like another fellow nerd to see their game to see what the other like Pokemon looked like. And yeah, my friend back then, the only other person I knew that played, he always used Blaziken, so he just kept beating down my Sceptile. I got sick of it, so I was like, right, I'm starting again. I'm picking the water one. I'm gonna win. And then yeah, just from there it just stuck forever. I just loved it.
That's cool. It's a great Pokemon. So guys, there's a reason why this man picked the Rain team in his most recent Draft League. That's phenomenal. So now, outside of Pokemon, you personally, let's dip into the personal life. What is it that you do as a day job? Because we're still relatively, quote unquote, small in the YouTube scene, right? So this obviously isn't something that you do completely full time. Although you do pump out a lot of content. What is it that you do outside of YouTube?
So until recently, I was working for a company that basically help, I don't know how to explain it, with like kitchen appliances if you need them repairing. So if your fridge or your freezer or your kettle, not so much kettles, but like coffee machines, that kind of stuff. If you had a problem with it, you would call in our customer care center basically, and I would talk you through the problems, get you an engineer if you need an engineer. I've quit that job, thank God. It was a good job, but it was just my temporary break before going back to university to go and do my PhD. So I'm going back to uni in October.
So you are smart. So we are smarter for talking to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys heard it here first. For those who didn't know, Dr. Slacking is actually in school,
going to be a
doctor. That is awesome. I'm not saying I'm like turned on, but I'm just saying that my palms are sweating. That's cool, man. So is there any specific any area of medicine that you're looking to get into?
So over here, like the PhD isn't always medicine. You can do it in like all sorts of things. So mine's actually going to be in movie and TV writing. I write screenplays. So basically, I'm going to spend 3 years developing a screenplay or a series of screenplays for Netflix. And I'm going to be studying like the Netflix streaming market and what it's like to be a writer for that industry, particularly writing for animation. That's what I do. So yeah, it's going to be just 3 years of me writing sort of animated TV shows for Netflix, which will be so much fun.
That sounds like so much fun.
Like so much fun.
Yeah, and I get to pretend to be smart at the end of it and not just a nerd that watches animation all the time. So that's an added benefit.
Wow, that is amazing. That is so awesome.
Is there anything that's out there on the internet that you have already created that is kind of floating around?
There is a short story of mine that's up online. If you want, I can send you the link. You're more than welcome to put it in the description if people wanted that.
Oh,
but yeah,
I will definitely do that.
definitely.
That's cool. So when did you first get into that? Because I know that's a very niche entertainment want. And because, like you said, you need to get your PhD to get kind of this stuff. So it's a lot of commitment, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when did you first decide that that's the route you wanted to go?
So I originally thought I wanted to go into journalism. I knew I wanted to do something with writing. I just enjoyed writing more than anything. So that was kind of like from a very small child. Well, I wanted to play sports professionally to begin with, but I wasn't very good at sports. So that was but then I wanted to write. So I wanted to do journalism. I went to university and I started studying politics. And I was not suited to that. I would turn up to my lectures in like football shirts and like sweat bottoms, just relaxed, chilled out, and there would be people there in like shirts and ties ready to argue about all the world's problems, and I was half asleep and just like, leave me alone. I thought we'd all just sit around having nice chats, but no, when you even studying politics, everyone's out for blood. So after 2 years of doing that, I basically got into a situation where I broke both of my hands and my nose, and it turned out to be a blessing. The university basically said to me, look, you physically are unable to study right now, so we're going to refund you your funding. Over here we get government funding and stuff for our education, so but it's limited how much you can get. So they basically refunded that. And with that refund, that allowed me to say, hey, I'm actually going to go right back to the beginning. The 2 years that I've done of politics, I'm going to scrap all of that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to study writing from the outset. I don't want to do journalism. I don't want to get involved in politics. It's too much. So I went back and started writing stories and scripts and screenplays, and just absolutely loved it.
That's incredible.
I'm like,
that's a very
amazed right now.
Yeah, that's a cool story.
Awesome.
Because you know that there's those people that, well, I can speak for myself, that whenever I came out of high school, grad school, and you know, you just don't know what to do. You just dip around about you have literally 5, 6, 7 different subjects. I switched
my major, wanted to like at least 5 times. I had no idea
and you never really
to do.
have that revelation moment that just says, hey, this is the path that you're going to go down. And the fact that you have this really cool story that just something happened to you and now all of a sudden everything was clear, that's just, I'm in awe of you, man. 'Cause that takes some discipline. I personally am not a fan of school. I would never was one for the education system. I just don't like to, do homework and read books and study. I just can't sit for too long.
Me too. Like, this is the ironic thing that people maybe don't realize. When I was at school, so I went to like over here again, I don't know the system in America, but we have different type of schools here. So you can go to like a normal state school paid by the government. You can pay for your own education and go to like what's considered a better privately educated school that you pay for. But we also have something which you can get into based on like an entrance exam. So you can sit this test, and if you pass it, you can get into it. And again, in theory, these are better schools. The area that I come from, as I said at the beginning, is quite a rural, like farming area. So if you can get into one of these schools, it's considered a lot better because the level of education is just a lot better. So I was very blessed. I managed to pass the entrance exam, get in. But once I got in, what I found was that it was for a lot of more sort of wealthy people, even though you didn't have to pay to go, and I didn't necessarily fit in. I spent most of my time actually on the verge of being expelled from school for behavioral issues and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and when it came to sitting I was not a good student. And when it came to sitting my exams before going to university, my English literature teacher actually wanted to move me into our like lowest classes because they said I would fail all the exams, and that they didn't want me reflecting poorly on the school. The irony being, I then went on to get a doctorate and a PhD in literature writing, essentially. So I was very much the same. I was not a good kid at school, but I was lucky to have kind of parents that were very supportive and very patient, very, very patient parents. Put up with my bullshit.
Wow, look at Dr. Saki's actually not in school, so now he's coming up on top. That's incredible.
Yeah. I'm very, in case you can't tell, I have some pride in that and kind of proving them wrong.
As you should.
I've always thought, so I'll say this here. I say this a lot to a lot of our guests. When I decided to do this podcast, I wanted to have it as an outlet for people to bring content creators to the people, to get to know them in a light that maybe they won't have the opportunity to do so. And at the same time, I'm fanboying too. I used to watch your content all the time. I used to watch you in a couple different draft leagues, and I would say, "Hey, Dr. Slacking's about to smoke this dude." And it's just you have such a way in speaking, because back in the day in Gen 7, you wouldn't do live comms; you'd always do post comms.
Yeah.
And it was a great way for me to actually learn how to do draft league, because the conversion from doing the doubles format to draft league, I would like to kind of stick to. There's an entertainment aspect that's like fun to watch, so I specifically watch like Kyle A because he's so fun to watch. And then there's like watching you, that there's a rhyme and a reason why you're making every specific move, and it's a good educational outlet for you to basically absorb. And you were like my go-to to watch that kind of stuff.
That's good. Thank you very much.
I told Summer that when we started playing together in the GDL, because Leo and I got close after doing the podcast with him, and I saw that lineup and I was like, oh god, Dr. Slacking is in this league, here we go.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. I didn't know that. That's really cool. Yeah, I always feel like you got to figure out your niche in draft league. Some people want to read a novel, they want to see entertainment. Some people want to read textbook, they want to learn, and you just got to figure out where you lie. When I was doing post comms, I tried to be the textbook. I tried to help other players, but that can be tough doing live commentary, because you're not always as clever as you think you are. So sometimes that can be more difficult. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man. And speaking of the live com, you've got this very sophisticated mustache that everyone has to comment on.
That's
So
a dope mustache.
it's an amazing
that's a
freaking
good
mustache. Do you ever get a following from that? Like, oh man, don't ever shave the stash.
No, like it really happened by accident. I've got to give a shout out to my girlfriend Katie. Basically, what happened is I was laid one morning in bed watching some YouTube videos on like beard tutorials, like maintenance, shaving, shaping, all that stuff. And I was saying to her, like, I used to have a bit of like a goatee beard and stuff with it. I kind of played around with it, but nothing super serious. And I said to her, like, do you think I should try this facial hair, that facial hair? And she said to me, you never look any different, anything you do with it. I don't know why you bother. She was mad with me. I'd pissed her off, right?
She humbled you real quick.
So I was like, oh, okay, it's like that, is it? So I waited and grew out my beard really long, and then I just shaved off everything but the mustache, because I was like, I'm going to show her this is going to look different. We'll see, you never look different now. So I came and showed her, and I was like, I thought she was going to be like, what the hell have you done? Get rid of it. And she just went, I like it, and left the room. And I was like, what? I've been planning this. This was my way of getting back at you when you actually like it. So it's just stayed from there. And yeah, the reception on YouTube and stuff, people keep coming on it. So yeah, I'm just kind of keeping it for now, as everyone seems to enjoy it. Yeah, it's good fun. But it all started out as almost a prank on my girlfriend to try and wind her up. But she actually
Shout out to Katie.
There we go.
Yeah, shout out to Katie, because there's very few people that can actually pull off like a mustache and it doesn't look either weird or creepy. Like it's a fine line where it's like, okay, like this actually suits you. Like this works.
Yeah,
it was a gamble.
It was a gamble.
It's a gamble that paid off.
Yes.
So a girlfriend, huh? A long-time girlfriend? What's that situation like? We're very curious about. So you do have a significant other. So, ladies and gents, those who are keep swiping right, waiting for Dr. Slacking to come up on Tinder, it ain't happening.
Yeah, we've been together for coming up to 4 years, so quite a very long term. She's really the reason I was able to start YouTube and stuff, with her encouragement. We met again, just everything planned out perfectly. If I'd started studying my course at university from the beginning instead of waiting 2 years and breaking all my bones and then studying it, I never would have met her. We met in lectures and stuff. So yeah, it would just played out nicely in that way. And then right at the end of university, we got together properly. So it's been great.
Awesome.
That's amazing. That's a cool story. There's always there's the rock that's always there for you, and that's cool that you have that. It makes sense. You're very strong-minded, very strong-willed. This is just me speaking from, just barely getting to know you and starting off the friendship. You carry yourself very highly and very strong, and that's an homage to what you got going on at home. So that's really cool. So shout out to Katie if she listens to this.
Yeah, shout out to her. She might. I don't know. She'll probably be embarrassed about me talking about nearly getting kicked out of school and breaking all my bones. She'll be like, "Oh, this idiot! Why is he talking about this?"
It's always the best. She knows all the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah. Of course.
I have to ask you about your niche, right? All of us have our stage persona. All of us have a stage name. We get known for specific, niches. Yours is Dr. Slacking. Now that we've established that
Don't
you
forget
do
the slacking doctor.
the Slacking Doctor, which is what I'm leading into, is that how did that whole thing come about? When did you stumble upon that? Because you mentioned that your favorite Pokemon is Swampert, but why Slacking? How did that all just evolve?
Okay, so we're gonna deep dive for a second here because this is a bit of a complex story. Just before I met Katie, the summer before her and I got together and stuff, I was super getting into watching Pokemon on YouTube. But I would have had the confidence to get in front of a camera and make videos. I'm not like a person that did like theatre or drama at school or anything like that. So I would never have done that. But I started joining forums online for Pokemon fans. I think it was actually the Mariland forums. And I went under the username The Truant King. Because I just was looking for something that sounded dope, right? I was like, this sounds cool, The Truant King, I like that. So it started from there, and then I basically posted for like 1 week and then just dipped off the forums. Never posted again. But about 6 to 8 months later, when I decided to start doing YouTube, or maybe a year later, I still had this little picture that someone had made for me on the forums of Slacking wearing a Slowking's crown on his head. So I was like, well, I can still recycle this. So I started thinking about ways to use it, and I knew that I wanted one day to go and get my doctorate, that I wanted to go and do my PhD. So as a kind of way of like locking myself into that promise to myself, I was like, if I create an online persona with this in the name, it will always kind of like force me to remember that's what I want to do eventually. Like that's the path I want to go down. If I want to live up to my YouTube name, I have to actually go and do it. So it was my way of kind of blackmailing myself into staying in education and doing everything I wanted to achieve. But then after that, the other reason was I started doing these Nuzlocks very, very long time ago called Doctor Locks, where basically it was a normal Nuzlocke, but you couldn't use Pokemon senses. Because I was the doctor, I had to heal my own Pokemon. And it was just a way of me creating a niche, a brand on YouTube that I thought would be recognizable. I thought maybe other people might try and do this Nuzlocke style, and then that could bring kind of promo around to my channel. It was just all about branding, really. I was like, this would be a cool way to brand it. As it turns out, I sucked at making Let's Play content and stopped doing that very quickly. So none of that really matters anymore. But yeah, the username and stuff just sticks. So that's really how it all came to be.
Dr. Slacking.
That's cool though. Like,
it's very catchy. Like,
yeah, it is super catchy.
I caught myself walking around the house like repeating your intro every single time. I don't know where it came from.
I repeat his intro
and it just flows so well. Even not even knowing the story. Let's just say that you were just a fan and the lover of Slacking, the Pokemon. The truant, calling your supporters the truant people, and loafing, thanking them for loafing around with you. It's just freaking brilliant. I thought that it just fits so well, and everything just flows, and I thought it was just phenomenal. So kudos to you.
Thank you. And the reason also that I also picked Slacking is just I felt like I love Swampert and stuff, but I felt like Slacking kind of represented me in terms of just being like having the potential to do stuff, but mostly being too lazy to achieve that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. So that was why really that was the mascot.
Yeah, it's kind of like most people have that favorite Pokemon, but then you really resemble another, so it should be your favorite, but it's not. You're just more drawn towards the shiny penny. That's phenomenal. That's so cool. So what we want to do now is we want to dip into Twitter, because we have gotten a huge response from announcing you on the Grandmaster's table. So shout out to you guys. If you guys aren't already, make sure you follow me at Grandmaster D-Ray. We're going to announce every person that comes onto the table, and we will give you guys the opportunity to shoot your shot. If there's anything that you wanted to have, anything you want to know from our guest that comes on, just the opportunity to do so. So dipping in here, so mind you, there's a couple questions on here that, guys, I understand this is a meme. You guys are amazing for asking these questions. If I skip your question, it's nothing personal, I promise you. It's just for the sake of time and just to get the nitty gritty out of Dr. Slacking. So the first question, of course, we can't ignore, because it comes from @MidPokemaster. We kind of mentioned it a little bit in the beginning, but he's gonna ask you, am I your favorite son?
He is my favorite son, absolutely. I believe he's my only son. I don't know. I was at university for a few years, so you never know. But I'm pretty sure he's my only son. I love Mid. Yeah, Mid's a good lad. There's such a big age difference between us. I think I want to see him succeed and help him in any way I can. So I've got a lot of love for Mid.
Same. We were actually just in call with him.
Talking to him probably
nice.
an hour before this. Yeah. So
any bad things he said about me were all lies. Okay, children always talk shit about their parents. Don't believe him.
Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, Mid, when you listen to this, we think the same thing. Summer and I, is that the kids are going to be 18 in a couple months, and the fact that he's this mature, because I don't know if you can vouch for your side, but for us, I was not that mature when I was about to turn 18. Okay, Summer. I was out doing God knows what, just being an absolute hooligan, and the fact that this dude's running multiple draft leagues and being the go-to for a lot of people in the community, it's incredible. So shout out to Mid, and shout out to being.
I think especially as a dude, like ladies do tend to grow up a bit faster. We tend to stay children for a long time. Some of us forever. So
Daniel's almost 30 and he's still a child. So
oh man,
that's the best way to be. I respect it.
Yes. And so we're gonna entertain Shuckle King because he deserves it. Homeboy's 3 for 3 in draft leagues, and he likes to hop in here and shoot. I'm sure a couple of these are going to be inside jokes, so we're going to throw those on there. So there's a couple questions, more like 50. But the first part that he has on here, this is from @_Shuckle King. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. He asks, Tyrax the GOAT first. That's a statement, right? Is there anything, conversation that you two have had about Tyrakion?
I used it in EWT with him. So it'll be, after that season. I wish that, when I joined EWT, one of the highlights for me was the opportunity to go up against him. My first kind of break in bigger leagues was when I joined the NPL minors division. He was in the majors division around that time, and he was just a guy that I knew was a terrific player. And so I always to me that the highlight of this game is A, the community, and B, getting to face off against the best around. So I was super stoked to play him, and then I bombed the whole season, didn't make playoffs, and he wasn't on my regular schedule. So that really sucked. But I'm coming for you, Shuckle King, man. We're gonna have a game soon, and I'm gonna lose, but I'm gonna lose with style.
Yeah, shout out to Shuckle King. For those who don't know, Shuckle King is actually 3 for 3 in draft leagues, so he's only competed in 3.
He's a monster.
And has won the AP Academy, the EWT, and then now the the team league that he did with Leo 6 Foot Hack. So shout out to Shuckle King and his incredible resume, and it keeps continuing to grow. He's taking a break, and I would too. Just calm the monster before he comes back and just thrashes us all.
Very
and
much.
he threw a couple of small fun ones in here. He says Apple Jacks or Fruit Loops.
We don't have either of those over here, so can I go Cocoa Pops? I think you probably have those in America.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
We do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cocoa Pops then, because we don't have either of those fancy cereals. Our cereals here are very limited and healthy.
Oh yeah, lame.
Yeah, your society over there is not overfilled with obesity. So the fact that you don't have those over there is.
Give us the sugar. I want it.
Need all the sugar cereal.
He's like, no, I want it. This is actually a good question. It's a fun meme one. But he asks you, because we had this debate. Who did we have this debate with on the Grandmaster's table? With somebody else.
I don't know, but
I think it was with Liv.
Was it?
I think we did it with Liv. But he asks, is cereal a soup?
Cereal is soup? No, definitely not. Soup is also great, though. I love both, but it is not a soup. It does not count.
Okay. I'm like,
Summer,
that has
do you want
me
a rebuttal?
thinking. No, that has me really thinking, because I'm like, damn, is cereal a soup? Because you can have cold soups. There is such a thing. It's very rare, but there are things as cold soups. I'm like,
but also cereal until you add the milk is just the grain part, right? Cereal isn't milk plus cereal. So cereal dry is definitely not soup. You could argue once you add milk it becomes a soup, but that's like saying potato is a soup. No, you can put potato in a soup, but potato isn't a soup. So cereal is definitely not a soup.
That is the most
doctor just schooled me. Cereal's a soup.
I remember it was Leo who had this conversation.
It was Leo?
And Leo was the Pop-Tart one, and then we mentioned cereal.
Oh yeah.
About Pop-Tarts being a
ravioli.
But the phenomenal answer from
Yes.
a man that's over here working on his
I
PhD.
I
Holy
couldn't
moly.
you win that one automatically. I had nothing else to say.
That's just a sleep deprived mind for you. When I don't sleep enough, I just come out with crap like this.
And the rest of these questions are more memes, so we'll move forward to at Platinum Howler. So this is I don't know if you guys know each other very well, but this is a very interesting question that he asks you. He says, "This is your chance to set the record straight on your height. How come nobody ever comments about your weight? Was there ever a time in your life that you felt relatively chunky?"
Okay, so this I'm getting heated. This is a twofold question.
You just made me freaking Howler asking all these questions. Damn.
First question about my height. There's gonna be a lot of these. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of height things in here. I am factually exactly 6 foot tall, but I have a very good friend called Nico in this community. Nico one day joined a server that I was in, and just decided to tell everyone there that I was 4'7". I was a very angry little British man who hated everyone because they were taller than me. I don't know why he did this. He was probably drunk. He loves tequila. But this is what he did. Yes. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I just came to this place. I don't know anyone here. And I invite you as like, hey, you're my best friend. Why don't you come hang out here with me? And this is how you repay me. From that point on, it's just taken over this meme that I'm short. And then people come and meet me in person and they Photoshop photographs of me to make me look tiny. Like there's one where the guy that I stood next to, he only has one arm because he had to Photoshop off his arm to make me look small. And people are still like, wow, he's really small, isn't he? I'm like, bitch, he's got one arm. How can you not tell this is a lie? So this is just this big meme.
Man, that's awesome.
To answer the second question in terms of weight, no, I've always been super skinny. Like people are surprised when they meet me. I play a lot of sports and stuff, so I think people think I'll be a bit more muscly or whatever. But no, I'm a super lightweight guy. Even though I'm tall, I'm very, very skinny.
That's amazing.
What sports do you play? You mention sports often.
So football here, soccer to you guys. Football, I play a lot. Yeah. I used to take it quite seriously, but I'm kind of washed nowadays. I just play with fat old men and pretend I'm good.
I played football for you, soccer for me. I played for 13 years, so I understand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, competitively, high level competitive, and then my body was just like, nope, can't do this anymore.
American football players, we become athletes for the rest of our lives.
Go away.
So I played rugby at school, which I think in America has this perception of being very like physical. It's more like American style football with tackling and stuff. Yes. But I have had so many worse injuries playing our football than playing rugby. It's insane because when you get like tackled or something, sure, like a 15 stone, 20 stone guy just put his shoulder in your stomach's surprisingly resilient. It will bounce back. But when you get a 15, 20 stone guy jump on your ankles, those ankles just snap. Like they don't last.
The amount of ankle injuries I've had in my life is ridiculous.
So that's why we never step on the soccer field.
It's so much more brutal. And elbows, man. That's a big one we get over here, which you probably don't get too much there because you guys are all nice about head trauma.
Oh,
and concussion. No. We just get elbowed in the face all the time here.
Girls are sneakier, and we elbow each other in like our guts and our rib cage and stuff a lot, and pull jerseys. Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna start getting heated about it.
So to answer Howler's question,
I love it.
Very tall.
That's my. Yes, I'm 6 foot exactly, so not super tall, but tall enough. I'm definitely not small.
Very tall, very fit. So let's throw that out there. If you ever see any meme or any kind of photo edit where he's below 5'5", then something's wrong.
A lie. It's all a lie.
And so moving down here, we have a question from. I just read the first part of this. We'll skip this. A good friend of ours, a good draft league player in the community on the Showdown Summit, at Panther Slick, but this is Slick Panther. He references and asks you, why are you so small? But we have already established that. But he does ask you. He does ask you a part 2 that's really, really good. What's your favorite draft league moment?
Oh, that's a hell of a question. Shout out to Slick. I love that guy. The one that jumps to mind, the reason that I think I'm one of the reasons I'm still playing Draft League, in terms of in an actual game of myself, like I have tons of moments of like things like this, right? The community stuff when you get to meet new people, stuff like that, loads. But in terms of an actual battling moment, there was a game where I was playing this guy who was the champion of the league. It was only my second league ever, I think. I was very, very bad at the game. But right at the end, I basically made this series of plays that still to this day, I might upload this to my channel one day and talk about it. Still to this day, I think we're like very high level. And I like kind of surprised myself doing it. And I basically just positioned this end game where I was able to sweep with my Porygon Z. But that was really the moment where I realized like, wow, the reward you get from this game, not just from a community aspect, but actually from a competitive aspect, when you finally do something good, something you can be proud of in the game. It just had me buzzing. Like I was sat on campus at the time, and I was like walking around shaking slightly afterwards because I was just so hyped after that. Like I'd never got the reward from competitive Pokemon that I would do from like actual sports rather than esports until that moment where I was like, it felt like I just won a big football match or something. Like, yeah, that was a moment to me, just energized me. I was like, okay, I love this game now. I'm going to be playing this for a while.
Yeah, it's incredible how much of a high and how much of a low you can find in the Draft League community or just Pokemon in general. Like you can, like you said, be on a super high from an incredibly competitive game, but at the same time, you know that sometimes with those games that you just don't play the best of your ability, and just the RNG aspect of the game that kind of like strikes to the point where it kind of screws you over and it brings you down to a low. But it all depends on how you perceive things, but at the same time it does push you down pretty low. But that's the love of the game. The fact that you can get this high and feel that rush is incredible, which is why it keeps us all sticking around.
Yeah, exactly. It makes us all junkies for it. We want to get that high again. We want to feel that rush. So it's like any sport though. That's the thing that I've kind of learned in the past few years. Esports can be very like real sports. They can kind of be a substitute for that same rush. So yeah, I love it.
And the third part that Slick has in his question is actually kind of funny because for those who don't know, before I say anything about this question, he did draft Diglett in his most recent season of the GDL that he's in now. So Diglett,
I know what
baby
Diglett
Pokemon, homeboy, he actually brought it in his most recent upload that was uploaded today. But he asks you, why is round 1 Dugtrio the best round 1 pick?
So this is a meme that I deserve to get memed for. In my first chance at the big time, if you like, when I was doing the NPL tryouts, I drafted Dugtrio round 1, and this was the most high-profile thing I'd ever been involved in. This was my round 1 pick. Because I didn't know what I actually wanted. I knew I wanted Dugtrio later in the draft, and I was like, if you lose Dugtrio, right, there's nothing else that does it. Like, there's no other Arena Trap Mon with that speed and stuff. So I was like, I don't know what to pick. At the time, I got a fairly new front office. They were all pretty much asleep. So I just panicked and picked Dugtrio, and it's never left me alone ever since. Like, it's everywhere I've gone, it's followed me, this meme about round 1 Dugtrio. But hey, that ended up working out. I got into the NPL after that tryout tournament, so it all came up roses in the end. But yeah, don't actually pick Dugtrio round 1 if you're new to this game. Don't actually do that. It's not a good idea.
This is kind of unrelated, but in a way kind of is at the same time. We are in our GDL Discord server. I'm gonna clip right now, you'll see it on your screen, that this week in the GDL, Dr. Slacking brought his Diglett that he drafted in the league, and Owen, OG Albina, he brought himself his Dugtrio. The both of them made their thumbnails. And so he posted in our general chat and said, "Don't mess with me and my son ever again." And it's his Dugtrio and the Diglett put together. So I thought it'd be a fun little snippet for you guys to see.
That's
just
funny.
on this occasion from Slick Panther's question. So shout out to you, Slick. So moving down the line, we have Executor Enthusiast, aka Gravy, aka Jack, aka whatever name he decides to be. Moving forward, we love Jack. He's always got the 10 million names. He asks you, what is your favorite Pokemon and why is it Semi-Seer?
Okay, here we go. Another troll. I love Jack. I'm moving house to live near Jack soon, so I'm probably gonna see more of him IRL, which will be dope. I love that guy. But yeah, he knows that Semi-Seer is my least favorite Pokemon. I hate that thing. And again, shout out to my boy Nico, who I mentioned earlier, who started the whole short meme. One time I decided it'd be funny to let Nico draft for me in a draft league. I was like, hey Nico, do you want to pick my team? He was supposed to pick for my front office. My whole front office was supposed to agree together, but they could go crazy, right? They could try and meme me, whatever. But the reason I picked Nico to be their representative in the actual draft is because he's this person where you never know if he will do what's agreed upon in the front office server or if he's just gonna do his own thing, because he's crazy like that, and most of the time drunk. So he basically just picked me loads of Pokemon that I hated because he thought it'd be funny to make me suffer a whole season with them, including Simisear. So I had to do a whole season using it, and I did actually bring it to games. It's terrible, it's so ugly, and I hate it. But yeah, shout out to Jack and Nico.
Wow.
I just showed Summer what it looked like, and she's like, ew.
It's so gross. It creeps me out. I don't like it. It scares me.
Yeah, it is a little bit creepy.
This one I'll throw in here because I'm sure he's a friend of yours because you liked it as well. But at Anas, I'm going to butcher your name, my
Yeah,
friend, and
you
I'm
are.
really sorry. It's Anas Shaikh.
Shake?
He
Yeah.
goes by N. Anas
You can
Shaikh.
call him. You can just call him Dragonite. That's what he goes by online. You can call him
Oh,
Dragonite.
Dragonite. So Dragonite, he asks, "Who's your favorite and why is it me?"
He is my favorite. He's a good guy. We met back when I was still doing Let's Plays. He was on that grind too back then, but he's since kind of quit to do work. Again, when I met him, I think he was like 16. So I always tried to, be a mature, responsible influence where I could be. And yeah, I love that guy, and I think he's doing really well and stuff outside of YouTube now. So shout out to
That's
him.
awesome. Cool.
So shout out to you, Dre. Look at that. Look
Yeah.
at that. And then this next one is from. So he asks 5 questions. We're gonna put 2 of them because the top 2 questions are actually really, really good. I'm actually curious of what you think about the first one. This is from @Devious Ditto. The Devious Ditto. The first part of his many-part question is thoughts on Ditto in Draft League.
Okay, shout out to Devious Ditto, Jake, another guy that I know IRL, really cool guy, and good YouTuber as well. You guys should check him out. But he's always talking about Ditto. I think Ditto is really good in Draft League. The problem is I don't think I'll ever draft it because it's one of these mons that unless if you had a particularly set up weak team, I think it's great on offensive teams where you don't have maybe the tools to stop opposing setup sweepers and you're scared of getting out offense. I think it's great for that. But it's such a hard thing to pick on a draft, right? Because you want you want your stealth rockers, your pivots, your defoggers, you want all these niches being filled, and Ditto just does nothing on paper. In practice, it's fantastic, but on paper, it does absolutely nothing. So it's I think it's awesome in Draft League. I think it has a role. It's great for scouting out information on your opponent's sets and all that good stuff. But I don't think you'll ever see me use it just because it doesn't fit my drafting style.
It's very true. I was very curious to get your take on that because a lot of people live and die by Ditto because it does
for
give you
sure.
that kind of safety blanket to kind of not get swept by a Hydreigon that's going to drag ants all over your nasty plot on you.
I mean, my argument to them would be just play better and you won't need
Yeah,
it.
Yep. I'm glad you said it and I didn't have to say it. There's a thing called taunt and focus sashes, guys. You'll be fine. And
Exactly.
the second part of his question he asked is actually really, really good. He says, with the growth on the channel, who would be your dream collab?
I recently did one of them with PokeAim. That was insane. That was definitely up there. Probably the other 3 for me, in a Draft League perspective, the 2 people that really got me hooked on Draft League the most more than anyone. There were a lot of players that I would shout out as well, but I'll be here forever because I just used to binge watch so much Draft League when I first started. But in Vivid Color is someone that I've got to know as well as a person, and I just started out as an absolute stan of his. I watched every game, I commented on every game. I thought he was just the coolest, nicest guy. And although he's not winning championships over and over, I still thought he was a very solid player. So it wasn't. I think the more you play this game, a lot of people lose patience with players that they perceive to be weaker than them. They'll be like, "That's a bad player. I can't watch this." I've never really been that guy because I think as long as they are nice and personable, it's fine. They're learning too. We're all learning. We all start somewhere. But he was better than me all the time, really. So I was still learning from him. And yeah, I would love one day to do a video with him because it was huge inspiration to me. The other one, Wolf Glick, is literally the reason that I know competitive Pokemon exists. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have any idea that any of this existed. So very big hero of mine in Pokemon terms. So those 2. And then outside of Draft League, Mr. Jamvad is just someone that I love his podcasts, and one day I would love to feature on his podcast as well. But yeah, they're kind of the big 3 for me, I guess. And PokeAim, who I said I just did one with, which blew my mind.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Yeah, Vivid is has grown to be a
really
close
cool-
personal. The moment we're trying to do your
Personal
accident. Good personal friend of ours.
Friend
He's
of
an
ours,
amazing,
yeah.
amazing.
He's
So
a
nice.
really great guy. Yeah.
So
We're gonna
nice,
visit him
yeah.
pretty
yeah.
soon because he's in Arizona, but he lives in like the dark, like hottest parts of Arizona. So I don't know if that's all actually gonna happen. But he's an amazing human being, so I definitely understand why you said that.
Yes.
And it's just his
He's a
content is
great
just so much
person.
fun. He's just a human.
Yeah,
He's
we had him on the podcast too. He's
Yeah.
an alum.
a great
Yes,
guy.
I did see that. Yeah, he's when I had like 50 subs and I was just commenting on his videos, I was commenting as genuinely nothing more than a fan, and he took the time out to watch some of my content. I didn't ask him to or anything, and give me feedback and be like, "Hey man, look, you just keep grinding, and I think your content's underappreciated." And yeah, like that was huge for me back then. You know, when I was still pretty nervous and new and had no following whatsoever. To have words of encouragement from someone that I admired so much was really motivated me to keep doing this. So yeah, huge shout out to him.
Yeah, we love ourselves some Vivid. So
Yeah.
I'm looking through the rest of these questions, and a lot of
A lot of them are
like,
short jokes, right? A lot of them are short jokes.
a lot of them are short jokes. But I am gonna put this one out there because I know that you guys have a really close relationship, and even though it's kind of on a subject we already talked about, I feel like this needs to be brought to light because they're gonna love this. At Aquarius 0727, they ask, why does Matt like to beat his children? Sorry,
Right.
Mid. And yeah, then he says, for real though, ask him what his favorite brand of cereal is.
Okay, yeah, okay. Firstly, it's because I also joke that Aquarius is my child. Again, bit of an age gap. And I beat them last night in a draft league game for the first time. So that's why they're doing that. I hacked the shit out of them. Oh my god, I got so lucky. But it felt good. It felt real good. So we take those. But yeah, no, the Aquarius and I are very, very close. They've come all the way over from Chicago to visit me in the UK last summer.
Wow.
And yeah, very, very good friend of mine. Can't speak highly enough of them. And in terms of cereals, anything chocolatey. Like I'm a big chocolate freak. Like I love chocolate. So I like the unhealthy cereals. I like all the things chocolatey, all the things sugary. I will eat healthy stuff as well, but I mean, I'll grow up when I'm old, right? I can keep eating the sugary stuff for a while yet.
Exactly.
100%.
Yes.
100%. So thank guys, everyone that asked questions up on Twitter. We really do appreciate it. And so if you guys want to get yourself involved in any of these podcasts, again, follow me at Grandmaster D, where I'll announce when we have our guest here so you can shoot your shot. And it's a good time to be able to kind of conversate with our guests that we have here. And when I'm going to actually do one, before we go, actually, the Twitters, thank you guys. I'm going to hop into the Sanctuary, which is our Discord server. And there was one question that we got in here that I do want to ask. It's actually a really, really good one. This is from Froxy Proxy.
No, not that
No, is
one.
it?
It's from.
Oh, Sventun. Yeah, there we go.
Sventun.
Mr. Sventun. He's I can't remember. Is it from Sweden? He's a great guy.
He's
He was
from
with me in
Sweden.
the IBL.
Yeah, he's from Sweden.
Amazing person. So he asks you, he says, I thought it was a fork and not a mic. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
that's the
yeah,
wrong
that's
part.
something
He says, sorry, here's the question. He says, when did you obtain your PhD in Slackies?
I was born this way. It's genetics.
Yeah.
They come from a family of slackers. It's just how it goes. Yeah.
Perfect. And then I do want to mention before we go, there's a most recent change of pace to your channel that I personally noticed. I'm sure that you are close personal friends with Isaac, and I saw that he put a video out on your channel that is very different from the content that you put out on your channel. And it was something that I saw that you were going to do a draft league study on Toxicroak, and your draft league studies are absolutely phenomenal. I'm like, oh, cool, he did one with Toxicroak. I didn't notice that it said featuring Isaac. So when I clicked on the video, I was like, wait, but this is like 3 minutes long. I wonder how much he's really going to talk about it. Maybe he doesn't like Toxicroak. So I click on the video, and it's Mr. Swinub completely blows up the YouTube scene. Talk to us a little bit more about what happened there.
Yeah, so Isaac's my absolute boy. He's Swedish as well. Shout out to the Swedes. He's been to visit me with my other Swedish friend. The last 2 or 3 summers, he's come over to see me. And some people will know his good friend Strumpful, who used to be an analyst for the GBA. Very, very close friend of mine. So some people might know Strumpful's name. Shout out to him. But yeah, those 2 guys super tight with me. They say they come to visit me. I'm supposed to be going to Sweden in January to visit them. And basically, while I was away on holiday, Isaac has recently started his own channel. He's incredibly good at editing. Like, his content is so much more polished than mine. He adds a lot of edits and stuff. So I hit him up and I was like, hey, look, I'm going on holiday for a week. I want to do a week of collabs with my front office members, which he's one of, building up to this Sunday where I have my collab with PokeAim. And so I want to build this like hype week of collabs. So I said to him, do you want to do, like, you've just started your YouTube stuff, do you want to make a video for my channel? I'll pay you an exposure. No, I'll pay you in my friendship. That's what you get.
Even better.
So he basically, I said to him, I was like, go wild. Like, you can do whatever you want. You have full reign to do anything. I would suggest maybe parodying one of my video styles, kind of riffing off it, doing a spoof of it and making fun of it a little bit. But other than that, you have free license to just go crazy and be creative. So yeah, what you guys saw is what he got up to when I left him unsupervised. I had to give him my YouTube passwords, and it was pretty scary. I was sat out eating dinner with Katie, and I got this notification on my phone, like, someone's logged into your YouTube in Sweden. And I was like, oh god, here it goes. My channel is gonna get canceled.
It's happening. Oh no, it's happening.
It was really good.
It was really good.
It was
So guys,
really well edited.
the video, I'll leave a link down in the description below because it's such a good change of pace. You'd think that it's going to be a real drafting study about Toxicroak. Like, I'm about to learn something new. This Pokemon's pretty good. And all of a sudden, boom, it's complete opposite of what you're used to on Dr. Slacking's channel. And it was exactly what you need, a breath of fresh air. So shout out to Isaac for giving us the heat content. So guys, make sure you subscribe to Isaac as well because he did a phenomenal job. So my man, the floor is yours. Do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to plug? Tell the people what anything cooking up in the kitchen?
We got a new team name coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. John Jr. did the graphics, a big shout out to him. Yeah, keep looking out for that. I don't know when this goes up, but I'll either have a new series starting just after this goes up or just before, so it's going to be a new variation on how I do my Showdown Lives, and actually some of the questions that have been asked today will be relevant to that new series format, so you'll get more answers in that. I would definitely check that out. But yeah, that's it really. It's a new series, new Showdown Live series, and a new team coming soon.
Ooh, lots of really fun stuff. I'm over here excited too, getting all fanboyish and whatnot. Well, we appreciate you, my man, taking the time to wake up early in the morning at the butt crack of dawn to get yourself up in here and hang out with us. It really does mean a lot to us, so we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on and giving this opportunity. It's great for me to get to talk to you more as well, because obviously we've DM'd a few times and it's been cool, but to actually speak to you properly has been awesome. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Summer, do you want to say anything else before we go?
Have an amazing rest of your day
Yeah.
as we hit the
Guys,
day.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks again for tuning into this episode of the Grandmaster's Table. Again, I'll leave a link down in the description below for Dr. Slacking's channel. Please do me a massive favor. Head over there, subscribe. You will not be disappointed. My man pumps out like really good content that's going to make you much better at the Draft League format and make it super informative. And the man's over here, quote unquote, having fun with the GDL, but actually smashing it. So make sure you watch and follow his run, because I would not be surprised if he ends up winning the entire thing, because this lax persona that he's got going on is really working for him. So make sure you follow his run in the GDL. And with that being said, guys, we're gonna get the heck up out of here. Have a great rest of your night, and above all else, be nice. Peace.